Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to our Best of the Rest series where we talk about all the cards in Ixalan not spoiled individually. In this episode, we're going to go over the rest of the red cards, so if you've missed previous episodes, you can start by clicking the link on the screen. It'll bring you to the first episode. With all that said, let's see what red Ixalan has to offer. Bonded Horn Crust is 4 mana for a 5/5 dinosaur, can attack or block alone. A dinosaur version of Mog Flunkies, I see. Okay, it's not bad. 4 mana for a 5/5 is obviously good value, which is why that drawback is such a, well, drawback. If there's one thing I've learned from this limited environment already, it's that getting multiple creatures on the board isn't all that difficult. So while I would normally not play something like this, a 5/5 is hefty, and I don't think you're going to have that difficult of a time getting partners for it to attack or block with. Just make sure you play this in a sealed or draft deck with at least 16 or 17 other creatures. If you have too few creatures, kinda kills the point of the thing. Brazen Buccaneers is 4 mana for a 2/2 human pirate with haste. When it enters the battlefield, it explores. I quite enjoy this card. 4 mana for a 2/2 with haste isn't great, but exploring certainly is. It either becomes a 3/3, in which case the 4 mana is justified, or you get an extra land, in which case the 4 mana is justified. Explore gives this card real value, and while I don't like the idea of spending 4 mana for a 2/2, even with haste, I'll take it if it means drawing an extra land. It's a good curve filler. Explore makes it relevant. I'll probably run this in a decent amount of red decks. It's playable. Charging monstrous oars, 5 mana for a 5/5 dinosaur with trample and haste. Hot dang, this is stupid. Easily one of the best uncommons in the entire set, hands down. This dude makes no sense. 5 mana for a 5/5 is already okay. Add haste, even better, but, believable. But also trample? Just pile it on, Wizards. Talk about pushing a card for limited play. First pickable in draft, always playing this in sealed if you're in a red deck. The Monstrosaur is crazy strong, bigger than most anything in the set, and at a cheap cost as far as I'm concerned. 5 mana 5/5s with double upside? What kind of world are we living in here, people? This is just insanity. Fathom Fleet Firebrand is 2 mana for a 2/2 human pirate. You can pay 2 mana and it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So fire breathing, it's nice. This is a bear with upside, can't say no to that. It's going to be a nice curve filler. It has relevance late game when you have mana to jump into it. All around solid playable. You want to get a few of these in draft, or hope you get a few in sealed to smooth out your early game. It's a good pirate, always playable in every red limited deck for sure. Fiery Cannonade is 3 mana for an instant. It deals 2 damage to each non-pirate creature. Wow, pro-pirate pyroclasm at instant speed, pretty ruthless. This doesn't need much analysis. You only want to be playing this if you're in an incredibly heavy pirate deck, or you're running a super late game deck that doesn't commit to the board for a long time. Being instant speed is unusual for pyroclasm-like effects, so take advantage of that. Use it as a trick or on your opponent's turn whenever you can. Just remember, this card's only good in pirate decks or decks that don't commit to the board early. So maybe a big dinosaur strategy. Other than that, don't play it. Don't burn yourself for no reason. Fire Cannon Blast is 1 of anything in 2 red for a sorcery with raid. It deals 3 damage to target creature. It deals 6 damage to that creature instead if you attack with a creature this turn. Yes please? This is nice removal right here. You're in a red deck, so triggering raid isn't going to be that difficult at all. And even if you can't do that, 3 damage will be enough to take out most creatures in the set. Fire Cannon Blast is absolutely a staple in draft or sealed. Definitely going to be a card you need to grab early, even at sorcery speed. Man, get that raid trigger though. There are only a handful of creatures that can survive that. It's real brutal. Fire Shrine Keeper is 1 red mana for a 1/1 elemental with Menace. You can pay 8 mana, tap it, and sacrifice it to deal 3 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures. See, this is what I expected out of an 8 mana ability. The white and black ones, nah. This and the blue one, yes please. This makes sense to me. Spending 8 mana to bolt 2 creatures, that's worth it in my eyes. It has Menace, you can get in early for some damage, and if they don't remove it before you get to 8 mana, they're gonna lose a lot on board. This has inevitability in the best way. It directly impacts the board as soon as you use it, possibly swinging momentum in your favor, or just ending the game on the spot by wiping your opponent out. Certainly not the best red card we're gonna look at, but as far as this 8 mana ability cycle is concerned, definitely one of the better ones just for sure. Frenzied Raptors, 3 mana for a 4/2 dinosaur. I don't usually cover vanilla creatures in these videos, but a 4-power creature for 3 mana is looking nice right now. Ixalan is shaping up to be a grueling battle on the ground, and sometimes you need a creature like this. High power, able to take advantage of an empty board, or represent the threat of trading with something much more important. Not a priority at all, but a good curve filler if you need some help with a 3-drop slot. Headstrong Brood is 3 mana for a 3/3 orc pirate that can't block. It also has Menace as long as you control another pirate. Pretty straightforward. This orc pirate is designed to do one thing, attack, and that's good because it's pretty good at it. A 3/3 for 3 is fine, and having Menace as long as you control another pirate, sweet gravy. Since you're running an aggressive pirate-based deck, I get the weird feeling you aren't going to want to block that often anyways, so I'm not super worried about that can't block clause. It is unfortunate, but it's what we have to deal with to get 3/3s for 3 with Menace sometimes. Only good in a really aggressive deck with at least half your creatures being pirates, otherwise I'd probably skip out. Makeshift Munitions is 2 mana for an enchantment. You can pay 1 mana and sacrifice an artifact or creature to have the munitions deal 1 damage to target creature or player. As soon as I saw this, I thought Goblin Bombardment, but not broken, and that's essentially what it is. In exchange for the increased cost of the sacrifice ability, you get the flexibility in choosing a creature or artifact to shoot out of your cannon. Flavor-wise, this is insane, because you're going to shoot treasure tokens out of it, and that seems like the exact opposite of what pirates would want to do with treasure, but I digress. As far as playability is concerned, it's a bit difficult and limited. I would sideboard this in against pirate decks that have a lot of 1-toughness creatures you can easily drop, but you'll need a plethora of treasure tokens to get a lot of use out of this. Tough sell and limited for me, but in Commander, oh doggy. Prosh would love this, Krenko to be honest, Perforos token decks, wherever Goblin Bombardment is, this'll fit in just fine. Nest Robber is 2 mana for a 2/1 dinosaur with haste. Simple card. I hate that it's a 2/1, not a 2/2, but it has haste, so I'm back to being okay with it. Haste matters, and the Robber is going to punish slow starts and force action from your opponent. It is a bit of a dud late game, but most 2-drops are, to be honest. Nest Robber will perform just fine in any aggressive to mid-range strategy involving pirates, dinosaurs, vampires, whatever. It's just a decent early drop creature. A card we're catching up on from a few days ago, Pting Barrage, is one of anything in 2 red for a sorcery with Raid. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player. You can also pay 5 mana and return it from your graveyard to your hand. Activate this ability only if you attack with a creature this turn. Oh baby, this is recurring removal and I couldn't talk it up enough. 3 mana at sorcery speed to deal 3 damage to something is something we've seen before, literally in this video. It's definitely limited playable, but that raid trigger, that's why it's a rare and that's why it's bonkers. Sure, it's a ton of mana, 5 to bring it back, 3 to cast it again, that's a big investment. But recursion demands this kind of cost. If you have no other use for your mana, it gets even better. It's a mana sink to end all mana sinks. Keep pumping mana into it and bolting every creature imaginable. Strong rare. Worth first picking in drafts, certainly. Rigging Runner is 1 red mana for a 1/1 Goblin Pirate with First Strike and Raid. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it if you attack with a creature this turn. Interesting design. The idea is that this piles on to an already impactful turn. You obviously don't want to play this turn 1 as a 1/1 for 1, even with First Strike. It's just not great. But when you get to trigger Raid, a 2/2 with First Strike for 1, much better. And thanks to First Strike, it has more relevance than just early game beats. Many of the merfolk, vampires, and pirates in this set have 2 or less toughness, so First Strike, it matters. I like this a lot in aggressive decks, decent payoff from an easy raid trigger, count me in. Stormfleet Pyromancer is 5 mana for a 3/2 human pirate wizard with Raid. Awesome creature type, first of all. I wish I could be a human pirate wizard. 30% of the way there, I guess. Anyways, when it enters the battlefield, if you attack with a creature this turn, the Pyromancer deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Conditional removal is always something to pay attention to, and this time it comes on a 3/2 for 5. Certainly not a cheap cost, but if you can reliably trigger a raid, it'll be a decent 2 for 1. 5 mana to get a 3/2 and kill something? Now that's pretty sweet. Thankfully, this is going to be a top-end card, which means you'll have had plenty of time to get your early creatures ready to trigger Raid. Even if you attack in with something small, damage something big, and drop the Pyromancer to finish it off, that's still a 1 for 1, your something small for their something big. It checks out. The Pyromancer is versatile and easy to trigger. I like it quite a lot. Swashbuckling is 2 mana for an enchant creature aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has haste. Looks like we're getting Goblin Warpaint back. I'm not going to say this is some insane staple, because it isn't, but if you're running a deck that's incredibly low to the ground and you really think you can justify this aura, then by all means go nuts. But like I've said before with cards like this, you have to be running so low to the ground. I mean pirates with evasion, lots of removal, total brutality. Anything other than that and Swashbuckling loses its purpose. The idea is to be fast and over the top strong so they can't stop you. Keep that in mind when deck building. Ollies Knight is 2 mana for a 2/2 human knight. Whenever it attacks, if you control a dinosaur, the knight gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yay, more bears with upside. Sign me up, Captain. This upside is also super easy to trigger. You just need a dinosaur, and when you get one, attacking him with a 3/3 feels pretty good, especially when it only costs you 2 mana to play. Great card, nice upside. It'll get played in most red decks, especially those that also play dinos for that trigger synergy. Thrasher Raptors is 4 mana for a 3/3 dinosaur. As long as you control another dinosaur, Thrasher Raptors gets +2/+0 and has trample. Yeah, I'm super in. 4 mana for a 3/3 already isn't the worst thing in this set, and if you're playing at least a few other dinos, conditionally being a 5/3 with trample seems really, really good, and a common, yes please. In case you didn't know, there isn't much in the way of 4 mana dinosaurs in this set. There are a few good ones, but not a lot of depth. This is a good 4 mana dinosaur unlimited. Again, get some other dinos in your deck, of course, but worst case scenario, it's a nice filler card right here. Time to talk about my favorite red card in the entire set. Trove of Temptation is 4 mana for an enchantment. Each opponent must attack you or a planeswalker you control with at least one creature each combat if able. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token. This design's hilarious. It is. It's amazing. The best part about this card is that in limited, it's real upside for you. You only have one opponent, so they're probably going to attack you when they have good attacks anyways, and this forces them to attack you even when they don't. So that first clause is basically nonsense. But that trigger, oh baby, that trigger. Getting ramp and color fixing for days. Let's reach for the stars together here, people. I'm going to play this, but I have no idea where or what it's going to do. I'm thinking giant dinosaur limited decks because that makes the most sense for what the design of the card does. No idea if it'll be good, but that quote-unquote drawback isn't really a drawback at all outside of multiplayer games, so I'm all in. And with that, we round out the rest of the red cards. I'm pretty excited about the color in general. Due to the fact that dinosaurs and pirates are both red, we have a decent amount of early game power and late game potential as well as solid removal. I think red provides us with a powerful suite of creatures at any stage of the game, and it looks like a pretty well balanced color. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it, so please, please, please leave all your thoughts below and we'll talk about it. Gotta know what you're thinking about Ixalan. Which colors are you gravitating towards? We still have green to talk about, so stay tuned for that, of course. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Ixalan boxes are available for pre-order right now, right this second on TCG Player for $90 each. Seems like a pretty great price for a set full of dinos, pirates, vamps, fish, people, and more. I'm excited for the set, and I know a lot of you are as well, so if you're interested in getting your hands on the set for a reasonable price, just click the link on the screen. Helps the channel. We all live happily ever after. Great times ahead. Enjoy.
Wow.